It was just 4 months ago I bought this totaled 997 Turbo, and ever since I've been swapping all the parts over to a clean chassis. Last week I dropped the car off for paint. Now it's ready, it's done, it's time to pick it up. If you notice, I have a slightly smaller trailer this time, which should hopefully make loading, unloading, and overall just transport a little bit easier. Keyword, should.
Holy crap.
Time to do my favorite thing, editing these videos. What the f? I think it did it again. And there it is. It's like the red ring of death with an Xbox 360. I had a ton of footage on this thing. Picking up the car, loading the car, unloading the car, driving to get the car, a bunch of stuff. And this is the second time this has happened with this stupid piece of shit. So anyway, if you guys had new suggestions for a new camera, let me know, because I'm done with GoPros. You guys wouldn't have believed the nightmare this thing was to load. You think you just hop in it, start it up, drive it, you're good to go. Well, it turns out the front calipers had completely seized up. And the only way I was able to get it on the trailer was by cracking the front bleeder screws loose, and then the car could drive freely. But the problem with that is then you have no brakes. It was a very, very sketchy game of loading the car without crashing it, without scraping it. And I had it all on film, but of course the GoPro had other plans. And then here's me transporting the car back to my house. All the footage you see is from my phone or the dash cam. All the GoPro stuff, gone. For this whole video, gone. Worth mentioning here is having the camera feature on this new stereo in my truck is so helpful. I can just always have it up. It doesn't expire like it did on these trucks from the factory. I could leave it up the whole time, and I can always check on the car and trailer and tongue and make sure everything is good to go. And of course, here's the car at home, safe and sound. Now, the unloading, I did capture a lot of that on my main big camera, but again, all the stuff on the GoPro is gone. You'll see just how much of a pain this was, and this was with multiple people helping me to unload it. Really thankful for them.
It's down. You're scraping your front end.
Remember what I said about the trailer? Yeah, this is a landscaping trailer, so not exactly ideal for car transport. It did work. I'm very thankful that I could borrow it from my brother-in-law, but getting the car off of it was not easy. I had to get the jack underneath the trailer to get the ramps off the ground to pull the trailer out from underneath the car. It was quite the process.
Keep going, you're good. Your jack actually moved that time.
All right. Well, enjoy your Christmas, fellas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
For your help.
We're gonna take this thing for a drive now, or pull the car out of the garage?
I'll get it out.
Remember, the car still has no brakes as the front caliper bleeder screws are still open because the car wouldn't move with them closed. The calipers were so seized. The car literally wouldn't budge. That's how tight the calipers are stuck. Now, before we get on to some fixes for the 997, yes, fixes, even though it just got back from paint, I want to get the old chassis out of here. I'm tired of it sitting in my driveway. It looks really trashy. It doesn't look good. And I had some help from Tim. He works at Renline. He's the one that reached out. He's the one that gets me a ton of parts for the 997 and the 996. He stopped by as he was sort of around the area, and I took him for a ride in the 996. Luckily, as this is just a bare chassis, it's pretty light and pretty easy to maneuver around. The two of us were able to get it on the trailer pretty easily, thankfully, because I didn't really have a backup plan. After I took Tim for a ride, he headed out and I had to strap up the car, obviously, before towing it, but there were also some parts I still needed to remove. I had some intercooler ducting on the driver's side. I had some interior bits on the inside, including seatbelt brackets, headliner brackets. I had a miscellaneous bracket up in the front fender well. Yes, there's still a quarter panel window left in it, but that's just an extra, so hopefully I don't break the one that I have, and I don't need to remove this one. And yes, this chassis will be for sale, so if anyone needs a parts car, parts chassis, whatever, hit me up and I'll gladly sell it. If any of you guys are interested, I did make some new merch on the website, boostedapexdesigns.com. This is a pretty freaking awesome shirt. Sort of my car, but stock. Oh, and yeah, the mustache is back. I also have some new sweatshirts. I've got some embroidered stuff. Really happy with how these came out. This was created by my friend Subi, and he actually does digital artwork like this. So if you'd like to have him do some stuff for you, check him out. It's SDA Digital Arts on Instagram. Highly recommend. This shirt's 25 bucks. Sweatshirts are like 40 to 45. Thanks for all your support, guys. Took a trip to see some family for the holidays and also to transport this old broken chassis out of my property and to my dad's property because he has, well, a lot more space. not only does he have a lot more space, he has the proper equipment to move it. He's got a forklift thing. He calls it the green machine. I don't know. It has a bunch of attachments, but the forks work great. We're able to get this thing off the trailer and moved over to its final resting location until one of you guys hopefully comes and picks it up and takes it off my hands. Until then, it'll be sitting here waiting.
You're lined up. That's good.
Gotta get home so I can show you guys the finished product. Obviously, Mustafa and his team knocked it out of the park on this car. I love the gray color. It looks incredible. I just can't wait to get all the parts on it to see it complete, because right now it's essentially kind of just a rolling chassis. I guess it's running, not really driving, but we're gonna fix that. Car is back from paint. Obviously, it's in the garage now. Is everything done? No. Still got to do the bumpers, the hood, the sunroof, all of the little parts. As of right now, this is the only part that's completed paint-wise, which is totally fine, because now I can get back to working on the car. Also got the old chassis out of my driveway so it doesn't look like a white trash junkyard anymore. And now we can focus on all the problems with the car. As you guys were well aware, the front brakes were completely locking up, making them undrivable. The calipers have to be seized. I don't know what else it could be. And the major elephant in the room, the water pump. Well, what I suspect is a failed water pump. I know a lot of you guys said, hey, you had the engine out, why didn't you do all this maintenance stuff first, like the water pump, thermostat, belts, etc.? Well, the truth is, guys, I wanted to make sure the engine ran and had no major issues. No sense in doing a bunch of maintenance to an engine that I didn't know if it would run. It was supposed to run, but you never know. It sat for a long time. Now, we're gonna take care of that. Got coil packs, spark plugs, water pump, thermostat, a whole bunch of stuff like that to install. But first, I gotta get this up on the quick jacks, lower the engine, and get to work. I feel like that's all I've been doing lately, is lowering Porsche engines. So I did go with the water pump with a composite impeller. That way, if it does ever fail, it won't implode the engine, hopefully. And a new gasket. Now, if you thought that was all the parts, well, you're severely mistaken. I got a whole bunch of maintenance parts, fixes, and then some. So, time to install all of these parts. This is going to be a big task, but these are all necessary parts to get this thing running and driving properly, along with some upgrades from, of course, none other than Redline, who make the absolute best parts. I have a link in the description. You guys would click on that if you're looking for anything for your Porsche. This is a lot of parts, so no sense standing around. Let's get to work, get the car up, start disassembling, pull the engine down. It's gonna be a big project. You know what? I should shift the car that way some, because I've got no room over there. That's better. Oh, I also almost forgot the other tranny mount brace thing was missing, so I gotta use one off of eBay. Gotta install this as well. The list keeps growing. Intercooler removal is pretty straightforward. Thankfully, I know how to do this because I just installed them a few weeks ago. And after the intercoolers are removed, I removed the O2 sensors, turbo heat shields, and then followed by the exhaust. And again, all of these things I had just installed a few weeks prior. Luckily, it's an easy job. Lowering the engine is simply two 19mm nuts underneath, obviously while supporting the engine with the jack stand. And then I could pull the Y pipe out of there along with the MAF sensors and the intake. And then I could lower the engine down, and that'll give me access to the water pump and also the drive belts and the thermostat. Since the engine was unbolted, I could remove the motor mounts because those are being replaced as well. All right, that is dropped, which I'm all too familiar with when it comes to Porsche engines. If you guys remember when I installed these, yeah, they're in excellent condition. So it's not like these are shot, but a redline upgrade is always a great upgrade. Other parts that need to be removed are the actual engine plate, or I'm not sure what you call it. The plate that bolts to the engine that bolts to the motor mounts. Once that's out of the way, I can get the accessory belt completely removed, and then it's time to move on to the water pump. I feel a tiny bit of play in a water pump pulley, so hopefully that leads to that being a good diagnosis. That hose is on there and tight. That hose is on there and tight. That's tight, that's tight, yeah. All these hose clamps are tight, so. Oh, that's absolutely the water pump. Look at this, guys. It's completely dry up top, but then right there, it is wet. It's gotta be it. I think that's everything. Oh! We've got the plastic compeller on this one too. You hear that? You can hear like the bearing's bad. Because it should not be making that noise. Because, here's the new one. Completely silent. Oh, I gotta do the thermostat too, which I don't even know where that is. Not sure the best route to get to the other bolt. That's like freaking buried in there. I wasn't exactly sure where the thermostat was on this car, but after removing that main coolant hose there, I could clearly see the thermostat inside the thermostat housing. The problem was the housing is held on by 3 Torx bolts, and they are, well, basically impossible to remove. If you guys have ever removed them, please let me know how. So, fun fact, guys, I am not replacing the thermostat because I simply can't get to the bolts. That rear one, I got it loose, but impossible to get out. Front one's super easy. There's another one that I honestly have no idea how anyone would ever get to it. You have to disassemble like half the engine. So please, Porsche gods, don't let my thermostat ever go bad. Obviously, that's not going to stop me from replacing the water pump because this is actually really easy. I don't think I've ever seen a vehicle where the water pump is essentially extremely easy to remove and the thermostat is impossible. Normally, it's nearly the other way around. As stated, replacing the water pump is a pretty standard, super easy job. Once I cleaned off the material, the gasket snaps in place on the water pump because there's 2 dowel pins, which makes that really nice. And then it's just a matter of putting all the bolts and tightening them down. All right. On the water pump installed. Let's go for the new belt. Actually, let me confirm that it's the right size first. Yep, Yep. Do I remember how this goes? Absolutely not. But I'm going to wing it. The accessory belt installation went about as smoothly as you could hope. It's actually really easy to get on, and hopefully this eliminates any kind of belt squeal, because the old one was, well, old and covered in coolant. Oh, I got to get one more tooth over. Ooh. And with that, a new problem arises. I don't know why this became misaligned. It's quite odd for that to just randomly happen. We're going to lose a lot of coolant here. I don't know why this became misaligned. So, gotta fix that. Hopefully it pops back in. Hopefully it's good now, but I won't know right now as there's no coolant in it. And this is where the video has to wrap up. I ran out of time. I wasn't able to finish this job. So in the next video, I have to install all of the rest of the parts, and hopefully the car will be running correctly and not spewing coolant everywhere. Oh, and I still have to do the brakes.